Hello there and welcome. This is Liesel Tevisham, and I have a few thoughts today about the feeling that we can sometimes have that our issues are in a complete mess and we don't need to, or we don't know where to start untangling. Have you seen this? I want to show you. That's exactly what happens with wires, isn't it? And like in an instant. I had these two wires perfectly untangled a few minutes ago. And what I did was just to bring them together and played with them a little bit like this. And there they are, a beautiful mess. And I know it's going to take me a while to sort this out. They're not, wires are unbelievable this way. They're not so fast. And that is sometimes how a client arrives when they want to come and work with me. It feels like this, they've got this unbelievable mess. Everything is a tangle in their head. When they start talking to me, they they feel like they're talking in circles. They can't get to the point. It feels like, and this thing is connected to that thing, and then they explain about this, and then that touches something else in their lives, and it's like it's just a mess in their minds, exactly like this. And I know very well what this feels like. I've been there too. Believe me, I'm just human like you. And I regularly have these own messes in my own life, just with things that that are maybe not exactly like your thing, but very similar. So, where do we start when it's a mess like this? When it's a mess in our mind about where to start? One of the things I regularly tell my clients is we don't necessarily know what the one perfect place is to start untangling, and that's often something that I encounter with clients is a bit of a desperation for us to untangle this mess in one session, and therefore they have the feeling like we have to know which wire to start untangling so that we can untangle all of it in one session and have the perfect answer for their life at the end of the session. And as you know, with this mess, that's not how it works. We start with one little thread. We don't know what the perfect place is to start. We don't know which wire to start when we look at it and it looks like this. We start with one wire. I see a little open thread over there, and when I pull it, I can see where else it's going to touch, and I untangle that bit. Now I can see a little bit better, and I can see I need to untangle over there. And so it starts to unravel. But if I start desperately trying to do this and untangle the whole thing, it just gets more messy and it isn't going to lead to great results. It's going to cause more anxiety. So that's what I tell my clients. We start somewhere. It looks very messy. And the truth is we don't know where that one perfect place is to start untangling this. We have to start somewhere, and we just start pulling gently and gradually. And if we keep at it, it's going to untangle beautifully. But we have to have patience. It's not going to happen in one day. And that is exactly why I don't do once-off sessions, because our issues look like this. They're not a straightforward line where we can go A to B in 90 minutes or 75 minutes or whatever. So that's the one thing, is we have to start untangling some way. And when we've untangled one knot, we have more clarity. We can see a little bit better because there's now less tangles, and we can find the next place that we need to untie in order to untangle a little bit further. And as you go, you also know, because I bet you've had to do this as well, as we go, in the beginning, it all looks very tangled and you can't see the wood for the trees. You can't see which wire to untangle. And as you just keep at it, by the end of it, I'd say the last 80% only takes 20% of the time to untangle. The first 20% takes 80% to untangle. It's that lovely rule that we encounter so often. So it's not that it's going to take very, very long at all. We just have to be very patient with that first bit. That's where it feels like it's the most messy. Another thing that I want to share is I think I may have mentioned this already. It may not be the perfect place where we start. It's not that we need to know the one place that's going to get us the best result. We start somewhere, and we start untangling gently with great love and great care, and and we just keep going. It always leads to a result, to better clarity, and we truly, truly, truly don't have to know what one pull is going to make everything untangle. We don't have to do that. It becomes more clear as we go on the journey and as we untangle each little bit at a time. The other thing I want to share is that leaving it like this, and then in a hurry the next day, like, oh gosh, I need my earphones, in a hurry the next day trying to quickly untangle it, is going to lead to more frustration and more irritation and anger and desperation than you can ever imagine. So leaving it like this until you need it is never the best idea. And it's the same with our issues. Once we realize we have an issue, like a pattern that's running in our lives or something that's just making us really unhappy and it keeps on coming back, it's not great to leave this whole mess until the next time that you need it in a hurry. That's going to lead to absolute frustration and really just not the best result for you. So start untangling gently while you're not in a desperate place. The next point I want to make is, I wonder if you think this tangle of wires can untangle itself. I don't think so. It's too complicated. It just hasn't got the energy to do it. Besides, it's kind of, not alive. So this is just a metaphor for us as well. It's very hard for us when we're inside of that mess to start untangling our own mess. It's very, very hard to see which wire to pull because we're so in the emotional challenges of this whole thing, in the emotional intensity. It is far, far more productive, more effective to ask someone else, somebody that you can trust, someone that you feel comfortable and safe with, to help you to understand where to start untangling this. Somebody with expertise in the area that you need help with, and not to expect yourself to untangle this big mess because it isn't going to work. It will lead to more frustration, delays, just not knowing where to start and getting further and further tangled in all the knots of all the issues. Because I can tell you now, I've worked with this for many years and I see it in my own life. I'm human just like you, that our issues touch many, many places in our life. If we have a pattern or a belief, for instance, say something like, nobody will want to hear what I have to say anyway. That's something really limiting that many of us grow up with, especially for introverts. I don't have a voice. It doesn't matter if I speak up because nobody will want to listen anyway. That issue right there is not going to touch just only, say, your public speaking. It's also going to touch your relationships. You won't be able to sort out the issues because you'll have in the back of your mind running, I can't sort this out because he or she is not going to want to know what I have to say anyway. It'll touch places in your career. You won't be able to speak up and ask for a salary raise or ask to sort out issues that are making you unhappy. It's going to touch places with your children. It'll touch places with your partner. It's just going to touch every single place in your life. And so it is not easy for us to sort this out and to know which thing to start untangling. It is really, really, really best, the most efficient, the kindest way to you as well is to get help to start untangling all these knots. And that is all that I have for you today. Thank you so much for whoever's watching. Thank you to anybody who's watching afterwards. If you have comments and thoughts about this topic, I would really love to hear them. Please put them in the comments and I'll answer. And Thanks, Karen, for being here. It's lovely to see you. So I've just more or less completed with this video, and you can watch the replay as well. It will be available in a couple of moments. Thank you so much for watching, and I'd love to hear your thoughts about untangling the wires of our issues in our lives.